My name is Mary Gerber. I'm a single mom, and I have a 5-year-old named Justice. And basically, the way I was raised in the Catholic faith, and my dad also was non-denominational Christian, and so everybody wanted to make sure we weren't going to hell. So I was in Catholic school, I went to the Catholic church, and then my dad also took me to his church on Sundays. So on the weekends we had like 2 services plus another meeting in the middle of the week. And basically things really weren't that great in the house. We kind of had that whole facade that this was a Christian home when really it wasn't. And my father's a child molester. And so everything kind of came to light when I was about 12 years old. And my dad was kicked out of the house at that point, and my mom was kind of left to take care of us. And it was a nightmare situation. You know, I knew who God was, and I believed in Him, you know, and I knew everything there was true, but I was so angry just at everything, and nobody was really there to watch out for me. You know, my mom was working all the time, and nobody was there to make sure I was coming home from school, and I pretty much just turned everything negative, and I just got involved in drugs and alcohol, and I was a real mess for years. Like, it was awful, and I ended up moving down here to Florida, and my family were involved in church, and so, you know, they were encouraging me, and I was still kind of just struggling with a lot of the anger issues that I had, and then you know, it's just something clicked at one point, and I started going to church, and God really made amazing changes in my life at that point, where I started, you know, from all the drugs I was getting serious panic attacks, which I still get to a point now, and it's just, you know, you make certain choices and there are consequences you have to deal with, but I guess that, you know, really I was just so broken at that point that there really wasn't anywhere else to turn. And I had gotten some counseling in the church, and they really, really helped me. And it was just amazing that God really started to take a lot of the panic and anxiety out of my life. And I was doing really well. And unfortunately, I let myself get back into the lion's den. And I've learned that more than anything, you've got to keep away, you know, from anything that you know might make you fall. Because, you know, I had a friend in from out of town, and, you know, instead of just saying, let's go to a movie, we went out to a bar, met up with my son's father, and that's just where everything fell apart for me again. And I realized that the relationship was bad. It wasn't what I was supposed to be doing, and I broke it off and was, you know, back going to church like I should have been, and found out I was pregnant. So, which, you know, was really embarrassing at the time, you know, because I knew what I was supposed to be doing, and, you know, and you can't really hide what you've done when you're pregnant. And, but I have to say that really God was right there for me. It wasn't like I didn't feel Him in my life or anything, and I was a Denny's waitress, and I had no money, you know, and I really just wanted to stay home with my kid for that first year. And so I prayed about it, and I had a lot of people in the church praying for me and with me. And around the 3rd trimester, somebody had donated a car to the church, and I was driving a 2-seater Dodge Dakota, which I thought was going to be great for the baby. I didn't know what I needed at the time. And when it came down, the gentleman who was in charge of benevolence, he immediately thought of me. And so we met up with my uncle, and I ended up taking this car, and I sold my truck to my cousin. And with that and a lot of other aid, I was able to stay home for almost the first year with my kid. And it's just one of those things that happens that you can only say that God did that. You know, there's no saying, you know, that I did that at all. I mean, it was something that never really should have been possible for me to stay home. And it just, you know, that really probably more than anything in my life has really showed me how amazing God is, and how He can overcome anything, and He can do anything. And probably throughout my life, The one, people say they have their life verse or whatever. I kind of took a whole chapter, and Psalm 91 is really, more than anything, what speaks to me. And there's one part where, it describes the Lord's wings and the feathers of his wings, and how you can kind of take refuge there. And a lot of my life, with all the stuff that went on when I was a kid in my house, and and as I got older, that that's like the one place when things are all falling apart. I imagine myself right there with his feathers covering me, and I know that God's there, because being a Christian doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to have any problems and things are going to be perfect and wonderful, but I know, at least for me, that whatever happens in my life, that, I could wake up every day and have some tragedy befall me, and I know that God's there, and I know he's there, he's my refuge, and it's comforting to me, and that's just kind of how I live my life, now, is that, I do the best that I can to stay there and, be in the Word every day, and I know that God is my refuge, basically.